What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos here on a daily basis. Let's jump right in. We got a lot to talk about here. New reports are coming out that it is possible that Medicare Part B premiums could actually be lower in 2023, which would be unbelievable if that even happens, or if it even is remotely close, especially with how bad inflation is right now. We would normally expect a massive increase because, look at 40-year high inflation. But this is actually a possibility for them to even be remotely close to being lower than last year. But here's the reason why. Check this out. Yeah, seniors in the US haven't had much to cheer about this year, with inflation running well ahead of the 2022 cost of living adjustment known as COLA, which was only 5.9%, which was actually the most we've had in 30 years. But the good news is that it'll be 5.9% from here on out every single year. So eventually, when inflation comes down, that will be a good thing. But there might be some good news on the horizon in the form of lower Medicare Part B premiums for 2023. The reason premiums could go down next year has to do with the Alzheimer's drug called Aduhelm. Yeah, this was a controversial drug to begin with. And this was part of the reason why the Medicare Part B premiums went up by 14.5% from last year to this year, before inflation was even crazily high. It went up 14.5%. Yeah, and that was because the cost of Aduhelm is $56,000, or it was. Well, Biogen, the company who makes it, was so kind to slash it down to $28,200. I know, you can't make this up. But in addition to that, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services announced that it would severely limit the amount of coverage that goes, the amount of people that can get Aduhelm. And it could only go to patients in authorized clinical trials. Less than a month later, Biogen drastically cut its sales efforts for the drug. Since then, Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra announced a statement that Medicare Part B premiums paid by Medicare beneficiaries, which is tens of millions of people, for 2022 should be, quote, this is the key word, should be adjusted downward to account for overestimated costs attributed to Aduhelm. However, due to, quote, legal and operational hurdles in adjusting Medicare premiums in the middle of 2022, the reduction in premium costs attributed to Aduhelm won't be incorporated until 2023. Yeah, which would cover part of the premiums paid for the increase of what may have happened here for 2023. So you see here they say, we had hoped to achieve this sooner, but CMS explains that the options to accomplish this would not be feasible. CMS and HHS are committed to lowering healthcare costs, so we look forward to seeing this Medicare premium adjustment across the finish line to ensure seniors get their cost savings in 2023. Now, we're not actually sure what will happen here. I'll keep you up to date here with the increase or decrease for Medicare Part B in 2023. We're also expecting a massive increase for Social Security increase cost of living adjustment for 2023, which is now, there's less than 4 months here left in 2022. And you can see here, Social Security increase, how much will my check be for 2023, which is now only a few months away. There's also another bill here to increase Social Security in addition to this by $2,400 a year, which I'll get to here in a moment. But The exact cost of living adjustment or COLA for 2023 will be revealed in the fall. It goes off of the inflation numbers for July, August, and September. We'll be getting the July numbers here soon. According to the Nonpartisan Senior Citizens League, the increase could be as much as 10.5%. This amount would raise the average retiree's benefit by $175 a month, based on what the average Social Security rate is. Okay. According to the Senior Citizens Administration, the average monthly benefit right now is $1,542. So if I get a calculator out, $175 a month times 12 months would be an increase of $2,100 per year. Okay, that's just for the COLA increase. Okay, that's just for the COLA increase. A 10.5% increase would be the first time COLA has reached double digits since 1982 in 40 years. Back then, it hit 11.2%. Yeah, remember last year was only 5.9%, so could be close to double depending on how high it gets here. I will keep you up to date here. What about a $200 increase? There is a potential of a $200 increase here as well, in addition to the $175. This is because Senator Bernie Sanders, who's an independent, along with around 200 Democratic colleagues, has introduced a bill to expand Social Security and extend the solvency by 75 years. This would actually do this by raising taxes on wealthy individuals to start paying into Social Security again after they make there's a couple different variants of this depending on how they would pass the bill, anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000. Right now, you currently stop paying Social Security taxes around $147,000. Okay, because that's the maximum you can make. That's the maximum allowed by Social Security that you've maxed out your benefits for the year. Okay. But what they want to do is they want to increase Social Security benefits by $2,400 a year or $200 a month, in addition to the COLA raise. Okay, the 9 or 10% or 8% or whatever we end up with this year based on inflation. This would be in addition to this if they're able to pass the bill. Whether they get some Republican support and they pass it with 60 votes in the Senate, or if they pass it through the reconciliation process. Remember that they want to pass a reconciliation process with the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 that would use one version, one card, or one process of the reconciliation process. It's unclear how many times they can do this, but I think they can do this 2 or 3 times this year. Again, it's unclear. It's hard to really tell, but they can. I'm pretty sure, almost definite, that they can use it more than once. I think they can use it 2 or 3 times per year, and they only used it once last year. Okay, so again, it's hard to really dig up this information, but almost certain you can use it more than once here. So I think they're gonna probably, it's based on Kirsten Sinema here with the Inflation Reduction Act. I'll show you this headline here. Democrats' anxiety grows over Kirsten Sinema's silence over the Inflation Reduction Act, the Build Back Better 2.0. Not necessarily the other bill, the Social Security increase bill. But that would be the key to the other bill if they can't get any Republican support on that as well. There's not going to be any Republicans that will vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, but if they can get any Republicans to vote for the other bill increasing Social Security benefits, that could be a way to pass it as well. Now, this bill is sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren to increase Social Security benefits by $2,400 a year. Republicans have, like Republicans like Lindsey Graham, they want to cut benefits. I've shown you some videos on it if you've seen in the past. It's not my opinion. That's just what some Republicans like Lindsey Graham think. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, they want to increase benefits by taxing the wealthy. Bernie Sanders actually had the Social Security Administration vet this, actually do the math on the bill, and the Social Security Administration says this would extend the solvency of the Social Security program by 75 years, as you can see right here in the writing on Bernie Sanders' page here. Okay. Now, the biggest question I always get is how could you pay out more money, $2,400 a year for tens of millions of people, and then also extend the solvency? The biggest thing we always hear right now is that Social Security is going to be broke in 13 years. Well, first of all, that's a misconception. In 13 or 14 years, Social Security is going to, you hear they're going to be insolvent in 13 or 14 years. The word insolvent, what it means is that if they don't make any changes, and first of all, it's already starting to change, because if you've been watching my channel or if you've been paying attention, I'll show you this headline right here. A U.S. budget gap narrowed by $1.7 trillion since October. So the U.S. paid down $1.7 trillion of deficit or U.S. debt in less than a year. Okay. The reason for this is more people are going back to work. More people are, states are taking in more money and the federal government's taking in more money. So they're also taking in more Social Security money at this point. Okay. So Social Security is actually becoming a little bit more solvent. Okay, so they actually extended the solvency by 1 year. But the solvency that you hear about of we're going to run, it's going to be insolvent in 13 or 14 years, all that means is that they're only going to be able to pay out 80% of the benefits if that actually happened. Okay, that is projected to happen, but it would only be able to pay out 80% of the benefits. It won't run out of money completely. Okay, but so one thing I want to say here is one, if they're able to pay out this much money just on federal deficit, they can always pay out this type of money to fund Social Security as well. The other thing is they could always give back the money that they took from Social Security. The problem is with Congress is that they just can't help themselves, especially back in the day. They just plundered Social Security. They just, Congress and the government just couldn't help themselves. They've seen all those trillions of dollars Social Security have, and they just plundered it like a pirate chest booty, right? They pirate chest of just gold, and they just used it. They plundered it, and they just took the money. And now they wonder, say, oh, why do we have a budget deficit there of Social Security, right? So number one option is, well, they could give the money back, aka a bailout. You think about the bailouts that um, Congress gives for the airlines, for the banks, for the auto industry. We could always do that. Number two is that we can always, instead of paying down the national deficit, the national debt, we could give money to Social Security that we plundered from to begin with. We could give the money back. Okay. Number three, what this bill calls for, and actually Republicans' ideas of as well, they both actually have similar ideas, is to raise taxes on wealthy individuals. Okay, people that make over $400,000. Some bills call for people that make over $250,000 would start paying more money into Social Security. Now they wouldn't really, depending on the bill, depending on the idea, depending on what passes, and probably in most cases they won't get more benefits. Okay, their benefits would be capped. They'd already make the maximum. But they would pay more money into taxes. So they pay a couple more percent into Social Security, but would not get any more Social Security benefits. They'd already get the maximum. Okay. The issue here is that you have people that make millions and millions and millions of dollars, but they only pay Social Security taxes on up to 147,000. So when you get people that make millions, tens of millions, billions of dollars, they could be paying a lot more taxes, a lot more taxes. And Bernie Sanders has had this plan vetted. He had the Social Security Administration do the math on it. And remember, he's not, or actually, I'll go back here. He's not considered a Democrat. He considers himself an independent. Remember, he actually criticized the Democrats on the CHIPS bill here recently because he just looks things as a realist here. And he said, That bill was $280 billion. And he said we should not be giving corporate welfare to the semiconductor industry, the chips industry. He said we do need to manufacture chips here in the US. We do need chips and semiconductors, but we shouldn't be writing a blank check to Intel and to these largely profitable corporations, $280 billion, okay, when we could be using things like that for Social Security, for people that are living, in poverty, people that could use the money as opposed to giving the money to corporations that are already making billions and billions of dollars. The chip industry is already overly profitable. So that's the thing is here is, when it came to that, Congress spent $280 billion like nothing. Like nothing. It was a bipartisan bill. Democrats and Republicans voted for it and passed it. And they didn't raise any taxes for that. So that's where you got to kind of remember here. And again, I'm not from either party either. I'm just here to kind of, reveal the truth of what's going on in Washington, whether it's bad Democrats, bad Republicans, good from either party. That's kind of the thing here. So Congress will spend money when they feel it's right to. And you guys can let me know your thoughts here on this. But Social Security is a problem that needs to be dealt with. But the other issue here is that 50% ish of people retire with no retirement savings at all. The other 50% of people go into retirement with basically stocks, with 401ks, money in the stocks, retirements. So 50% of people have retirement savings, and the other 50% of people have no retirement savings at all. Okay. And that presents a problem because they rely solely on Social Security. Okay. So the problem here is that most people know that Social Security only is not enough to live on. Okay. Especially if you're on something like SSI, SSDI, or if you live below, if you're at the average amount, which is around $1,500 a month, Social Security, if you're below the average of Social Security, if you're on SSI and a disability of $841 a month, how can you even afford an apartment on that? How can you afford an apartment and food and a car and gas? How can you afford these things on this? And this is where, when you think about the masses, millions and millions and millions of people who retire with no retirement savings, and it's too late for 100 million people already that are already in retirement. They're already basically of retirement age. They're already in their 70s, in their 60s, in their 80s. Yeah, they could maybe go back to work and work a little bit, maybe. But even that, how much is that going to do if they're even able to do that? They're reliant on Social Security. So when you see Congress spending $280 billion for the chip manufacturing companies, and money for this and money for that, and you really look at the priorities, you have to kind of wonder, what are the priorities of America? Is it the people? Is it all this other stuff? Now, don't get me wrong, we need to make chips in America. We need semiconductors. We need it for everything. We need it for computers. We need it for cell phones. We need it for cars. We need it for everything, pretty much. We're a technology society today. You're watching me right now on a phone or a computer screen right now. You can't do anything without technology nowadays. We need to make that stuff here in the US. It makes jobs here in the US. But the other thing is here, you got to remember that we're a people first society. We're people. Without having money for food, money for shelter, without a roof over your head, a lot of other things don't really matter first. So, and really, we're all going to be old eventually. I'm not on Social Security quite yet. I'm only 41, going to be 42 years old here soon. My mom, my dad, both on Social Security. My wife's mom and her dad, both on Social Security. Thank God they're all still alive here at this point. All of them are on Social Security. So you really got to kind of wonder here, what are the priorities? Do we want to cut Social Security, or do we want to just buck up and pay for it and put the money back into Social Security, or figure out a way to raise benefits? You let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here on all these different bills here in Congress going on here on a daily basis and what's going on here with our country here on a daily basis. Because you got to remember, 50% of people retire with no savings. They have only Social Security. 50%. So if we don't take care of them, they're just going to be living in poverty. And what's the alternative? So you let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's the best cost ever because it's completely for free. And click the bell icon down below so you get notifications when we go live here with new videos, and I will keep you up to date here with everything on a daily basis. You can click here to see a new deal that was just made for our veterans, which was really good news here as well. And you can click here to see my newest stimulus check video here as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.